Continuing her anti-tax cuts tour, using radical rhetoric to slam President Trump's policies.
In terms of the bonus that corporate America received versus the crumbs that they are giving, this is like giving you a bowl of doggy-doo.
You're doing a grave disservice to our country. Some patriotic.
Let's talk about where a more serious structure might be necessary, where fencing will do, or mowing the grass.
Top Democrats, some of them now distancing themselves from their party leader, criticizing her comments as being too extreme.
So is this growing proof that Pelosi is out of touch with what Americans want? Here now to weigh in is contributor at The Hill, Kristin Tate. Thank you for joining us, Kristin. I mean, look, you hear the sound bites. We're not making this stuff up. She's talking about crumbs. She's talking about the tax cuts being unpatriotic, I believe was something else she said. She's talking about mowing the grass down there at the border. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I mean, Nancy Pelosi just represents the old-style, entrenched kind of bureaucrat that 21st century voters on both sides of the aisle hate. Her approval rating is just 25%. Her brand is really poisonous, and it reflects poorly on everybody in her party. And the more vocal that she continues to make herself, the more likely it is that she will never sit in the speaker's chair again. But look, guys, this should be a great year for the Democrats. Although they've really failed to kind of put together a unifying message and offer positive solutions, this should be a strong midterm for them. But for a party that desperately needs a makeover, it seems like the obvious solution is to get rid of Nancy Pelosi. But Pelosi's made it pretty clear that she's not going anywhere. So I don't expect her to step down, although we've seen calls from people in her party to do so.
Yeah, she's chaining herself to the chair for sure. And the amount of rhetoric around that tax bill was just insane. If you remember, I mean, when this was all happening and when it was being pushed through, I mean, it was end of the world type talk. Do you lose credibility when you say things like that about a tax plan that does nothing more than cut taxes?
She just seems so out of touch. I mean, the average U.S. household is going to save $1,600 this year because of that tax bill. But I think she's actually doing the Republicans a favor. I mean, she's doing more to mobilize the GOP base, arguably, than GOP candidates, because conservative voters know exactly what she is. She is a far left-winger who wants to raise taxes on working-class Americans, reinstate every part of Obamacare, and give more power to Washington, D.C. She's like a swamp queen, the antithesis of what Donald Trump ran on last year. And Republicans also know that if Nancy Pelosi takes back the House, the first business of order next year will be impeaching Donald Trump. So the right is fired up because of Nancy Pelosi.
And you just hit on where we were going to go next, and that is in this lead up to the midterms. How much of an impact do you really think that she is going to have for the Republican Party?
Oh, huge. She mobilizes them and she alienates parts of her own base. But having said that, it's still possible for the Democrats to take back the House. It's just that if they do it, it will be in spite of Nancy Pelosi, not because of her.
And there's some numbers right there, Kristin. 39%. It's looking better for the GOP as we get closer to the midterms. 39% say they could vote Republican, about 38, I think it said, for Democrats. That's swung pretty dramatically here in the last few months, hasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the polls are trending in Republicans' favor. Republicans have a lot to brag about right now because of the economy. I mean, the tax cuts have been great. Americans are getting nice pay bumps and bonuses from their employers. I know that's crumbs to Nancy Pelosi, but, you know, when you're worth $100 million and you own 3 properties, it's easy to call that crumbs.
Kristin, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
It is
Thank
just
you so
about
much as
5
always,
minutes.